Good evening, everyone. It's really amazing to be part of this webinar, and then the opportunity created by GAP as well as the HHH to interact with you. Because the last session was something uh, more of an sexual harassment, and then you need to wear a different cap, and then you need to remove that cap, and then see with how we can really think new, and then think differently, and then how we can really the utilize design thinking. That is what is my thought process actually, which I'm going to share for next 40 minutes. Actually, this design thinking actually, if you really see, you would have heard of design. Have you heard about design thinking? If you think about design thinking, people have used this design thinking concept in the industry, but how do you really use this design thinking concept in NGO for the social good actually? So this is what actually the interesting part which I wanted to share today. Actually, we also done one of the workshop with HHS, that we could able to see the amazing ideas coming from each and everyone, and we could able to really funnel down and then identify some projects actually. So we are on the we are still working on those aspects actually. So and how this basically the design thinking for greater good actually. So the professor Jeanne, she's from the University of Virginia. She has recently wrote a book on the design thinking for greater good. Actually, how you can really bring this design thinking concept for the the social projects. So that is the basically the trigger for us actually. Can we really work on this space and then really spread the message that design thinking is for everyone? Okay, so we Innomantra, we started in 2010 basically to help large companies to drive innovation. How systematically you can approach innovation. People think innovation is something apple will fall on your head and then you will become innovator, but actually how to really shake the apple tree, that is what we teach. And then whose job is to innovate actually. So the innovation is everyone's job in the organization. It doesn't mean that the word innovation is only for the corporations actually. So it is also for the every aspect of life actually. Even you can apply to your personal life actually. So we have been helping several large companies, and then we work in some of three areas: that is strategic innovation, people innovation, how people can make difference in the organization, and then the functional innovation, how a doorman to chairman can contribute for innovation. So we have been working with several large companies, more than 50 plus clients we have, and then amazing companies. Each of the companies are amazing companies, amazing people. But in we can see the potential in every organization, how they can, if they're really given a right tools and techniques for innovation, people can come up with the brilliant ideas. Okay, so if you really see, this is all the picture it looks like for you, how does the change maker will look actually? How does the change maker's job profile will look like? So really say, this is how the job profile will look for a change maker. Hazardous journey, okay, uh, bitter cold, long month of complete darkness, okay, small wages, right, and then no wages in case of your your kind of work, uh, constant danger, the safe, written, doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. This is how your job profile looks like. But you need a lot of motivation. This is actually the job profile which was featured actually in 1900 for exploration job. So most of the time, because these kind of innovation projects, when you really take it up, it is the success is not carrying, the end results are not carrying, but still you need to stay motivated to really execute and then come up with new ideas, right? So if you really see why we are talking about innovation in the recent past, this word innovation comes very frequently nowadays. If you really see value over time, this is a very interesting slide from Crazy Times called Crazy Organization by Tom Peters. What does he say is if you really see value over time, the people living, people getting into the agriculture, during the agriculture age, actually people were mainly involved in agriculture, right? So that is coming down. And then during the industrial age, where India was not able to really that great, right? Now, during the information age, India was really recognized. The software made in Bangalore was recognized, right? So today, the age is the age of innovation, right? The age of innovation is, can you really bring one great idea so that I can transform my organization? How I can make it happen? People are moving from less material to more intellect. From more intellect, we are coming out with a wow ideas. So this is what people are looking at. If you really see in the last decade, you see the number of company which has become a unicorn. Unicorn means very big, like a Flipkart, maybe a Airbnb, maybe a like the Oyo rooms, maybe. You see all these are new generation, big basket, right? All these are new generation companies. Actually, they are transforming the way the people live, actually, right? You've forgotten that your travel agent who stays next to you today, right? So all this happened with one single trigger of idea transformed into a major business, right? So even if you really look at it, even in NGO sectors, some NGOs are extremely doing well, extremely doing in terms of they're extremely able to really generate a lot of funds, okay? But some are really, really working hard. What is it really that one thing which is making them to be successful? Okay, if you really look at the airport, all flights take from the same runway, but some are very profitable and some are not profitable, right? How that they make, some people make profit and some don't, because people make the difference, right? So here we're looking at is how to bring wow ideas on the table so that you have a lot to discuss next, right? And this is actually Teresa Amabel. She's a professor from Harvard. She says for a creativity, actually, you need to have three aspects deeply. That is, one is actually the task motivation. So definitely, people working in NGOs, definitely they are task motivated. At the same time, they wanted to really contribute something to the social good, right? So the task motivation is that the thing is, anything you take up, I will make it happen. That is a mindset. The next is actually the expertise. The expertise doesn't mean that you need to go back to the the violin class and start learning violin so that you can play orchestra, play in an orchestra one day. You cannot wait for that to happen, right? So expertise is basically bringing the expertise from outside for only playing that role effectively, the best player playing for you in the right concert. The third aspect is the creativity skills. We actually never learned creativity as a part of our curriculum, right? So here we look at how we can really bring tools and techniques, enable them to innovative. Actually, people always wanted to be innovative, but actually how to innovate is a question mark. At the same time, even when we hire people, we don't look at the ability of them on creativity. But once they join the organization, we expect them to be creative, right? So how each individual can be creative using some tools and techniques, that is what is our aspect, actually, what we look at. But if you really see, innovation has become a new normal. That means every organization wants to innovate. Okay, it is like being in the treadmill. To stay there, you need to run, right? So people call innovation factory. That means each day people come inside the organization, they should generate ideas also, not only just work and then go back. So the era of the modern times, where you have seen a Charlie Chaplin will be fixing the nuts and bolts every day in the same pattern. Okay, today the people are going away from those because the machines are coming in. Let's see that human beings can do much better job than doing some routine jobs each and every day. So what we also look at the empathy and human focus. This is one aspect why design thinking is highly connected with the social sector. That means you have high level of intelligence, but actually most of the time your heart makes best of the best decisions, right? So empathy and human focus is basically to understand the pain points of the customer, understand the pain points of the of the stakeholders with whom you are really focusing on, right? Identify the need area, because most of the times what happens, we design some programs, it will not really fulfill the needs of the stakeholders, actually. So they don't really see that impact. Even if they want to participate, they don't see it is not benefiting them. So basically what we really look at is how to really understand the pain points. Even maybe one individual's pain point can be different from others, right? How to really customize your programs for one single individual, right? So this is what actually we bring in. Actually, the third aspect is today people are started measuring innovation, the most innovative companies, because companies wants to to tell to the world, saying that I am very, very innovative. I am going to stay in the business for a longer time, so that it will also send a signal to the investors. It is better to invest in these companies. So the companies who are innovative are able to really get the investors better. At the same time, they are also performing better. So the rules of the competition also is changing. Like, the yesterday's competitor is no more a competitor for you today. The new competitors may be coming from maybe a startup, maybe from anywhere, right? So for you also, the social sector, you may think there are 5 NGOs are really targeting on the same, maybe an education. Okay, and then they are looking for the same funds to really take from the government or maybe from any of the the donors. But how you can really make a difference is all about, you need to really look at not only your competitors who are there today, who is a new competitor coming in this field. Okay, there may be a new NGO may come up. They may look at 4 aspects of different, and then they may bring a new concept itself altogether. We don't know that, but you need to have an eye on them also, because they are going to take away the stakeholders, as well as even that they are going to really take away the funds also, right? So one great thing about this, the game changers, you're a change maker. There are game changers. You can also be a game changer. It's not only a change maker, you can be a game changer. How is basically, if you really see in the recent past, the human potential has gone and grown tremendously multiple times. Okay, we used to remember some of the founders for one of the company he founded, right? Today, for example, like Elon Musk, he founded 4 different companies, which all are billion-dollar companies. That means in his lifetime, he could able to achieve 4 different billion-dollar companies. That means it is not that the one founder, one great company. The one founder may have a multiple great companies today. That means even if you really see the gold medalist in 1980s and then gold medalist today in the same sprint, if you really look at the kind of effort, the kind of the outcome, the perform by the sportsman is relatively very high, high precision, right? That is the kind of, even if you really look at the cricket matches, how it really changed. If you really watch the whole 60 or 50 over match, actually, you may not find 10 sixers. Today, in 3 hours, you will have 30 to 40 sixers, right? So that is the potential of human beings have really gone multiple times. So you can always dream big and then achieve to, that is what that's what I wanted to tell you. The third aspect is actually the people are looking at the growth mindset. That means everything you do, can I really do something better? Can I really grow in this direction? Can I explore something new? That is what I'm going to a little bit focus also in the coming. When you talk about design thinking, actually there are you would have heard about the left brain and right brain actually. So if you really see, the left brain is all about the creativity part, and then the right brain is all about the systematic approach in you. So we look at both the aspect, actually the creative part as well as the analytical part, actually how we can really bring together. That is the opportunity. Basically, you have a creativity aspect also, you also have a the scientific approach also. Okay, so bringing together can bring new thoughts. But actually, if you really see today, the most of the business models actually moving towards more creative side. That means they are working towards more on the customer side, because having a customer is the most important thing. The people are not really wanted to know what is happening inside my engine, but actually what is happening in my dashboard, because people are willing to pay for the dashboard, not for the engine which is there inside, right? That is the reason the design thinking is all about the creative part of the innovation. So why design thinking has become the game changer for many organizations is, it looks at 3 aspects very closely. One is the empathy, which is the understanding the needs of the customer or stakeholders. The second part is the new possibilities. Can you really look at new possibilities in every area? It may be a product, maybe one of your framework may be a product actually, because you're approaching the market with that. The second aspect is it may be a process. You can have a different process to really monitor all the projects at the same time possibly. Right? There's a processes which is involved. You need to sharpen that process, because at any point of time, you should know what's happening in your NGO. The third aspect is iteration. Iteration is an amazing thing. Iteration is a part of the process. That means nothing is like, is a fantastic product actually. So you can always keep improving actually on a regular basis actually, by getting the feedback, and can you really keep fine tuning so that you can improve the product and the framework, so that you'll have a higher impact programs than just an impactful program. So why this design thinking become very popular in the industry is actually in the TQM was it's called total quality management. Few years back, actually, if you really see, the TQM was very popular because it taught, actually it would have not given the high impact output for every organization, but it really brought in one key key aspect um, in everyone in the organization. That is, quality is everyone's job. It is not only one person's job, or it is not only the quality department's job. It is everyone in the organization's job. Design thinking is enabling that. Actually, design thinking is telling that is bringing the concept that design, the design is everyone's job. That means iteration is is a part of the process. So from doorman to chairman, you need to really be like a designer. Iteration should be a part of the process. You need to keep constantly improving your processes. Okay. Why this actually the growth mindset has been always actually I'm bringing that growth mindset aspect. The reason is actually the Professor Jeanne actually came across this book called Mindset. Okay, it is written by a psychology professor from Stanford called Carol Dweck, and she did a lot of study around the school children, how school children some do extremely well, some learn very fast, and some learn very slow. Okay, how this kids in the class, some perform extremely well and some don't perform, and then what kind of mindset they have. So she studied all this aspect, and then finally Professor Jeanne felt that this is one of the study they should do it in the corporates also, to understand why some companies perform extremely well, some companies don't perform. And finally she did with this particular study with the 70 leaders in Europe, US, and some of the profit and non-profit sectors also. She took an example. Okay, and she did through the personal interviews, disc assessments, and peer reviews, and these are some of the the companies where she really did this research. And then she found there are two types of people in the organization. That is, one is people with a fixed mindset, one is people with a growth mindset. We call it the Jeff cycle and George cycle. So what happens is actually that if you really see the George cycle, he looks at his outlook is something like this. He looks at life as a test, therefore avoid looking foolish. So the thing is, we have been always taught how to if you always been been taught, when you know the right answer, please raise the hand. Have you ever raised the hand when you don't know the answer? No, we have never done it, because we don't want to look foolish with others, right? In the classroom. That is how the mindset we were being grown, right? So if you really look at the growth mindset, actually the Jeff cycle, we call it as, the life is a journey of learning, therefore keep going in the direction. That is what the outlook is all about. So the George will fear uncertainty because he doesn't want to take risk. But actually, if you really see the Jeff, he will accept the uncertainty. But if you really see, again, the George, he avoid new experiences because he says, hey, this has not been our culture. We never really do this way. We never did this way, right? They don't want to take that as a challenge and then try something new. But here, if you really see, they seek new experiences. That's what the growth mindset is all about. So the next is basically, if you see that they have a very narrow repertoire. That means I have been doing from last 10 years, I've been mastered in only these skills. I'm comfortable with only with this skill. I don't want to do it. Okay. For example, there are many people maybe there in the NGO. They say that I can really work on the projects, but I don't like going in and asking for funds. Okay. That means they have a very narrow set of skill set. They only trust that I am not good at it. They don't explore something new. There may be something interesting maybe coming out when you really go for the funding. You may find that these are the projects people are looking for. then you may find the right projects which can connect with the right people. So there is always the gap is being created because the end customer and then the person who's delivering actually is not able to really meet in one place. So this is what the narrow repertoire is all about. The broad repertoire is basically they take new challenges. Okay, I have been working in this on the field for last 10 years. Now I'll take up a fundraising activity. Doesn't matter for me. Hello? Is it okay? Is it going fine?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So, and then they are very broader repertoire, and then understand the stakeholder as a data. Basically, they want everything with the reference to the data, right? So here we look at, one minute. Okay, so they look at the fixed mindset people. They look at only look for the few incremental ideas. Here we look at the stakeholder with empathy, understanding the pain points, understanding what is the real the challenges they face. They understand as a people. Okay, and then they have a direct multiple hidden growth opportunities because they understand and find the small opportunities within their projects, so that they will find a new projects within the project which they are working possibly, right? If you really see the manage risk through the analysis, because their fixed mindset people will always believe on the numbers, always believe what happened in the past. They keep on analyzing very much and then they lose a lot of time. But if you really see with the growth mindset people, they manage risk through action. They say, let me do this. If something goes wrong, I'll see what needs to be done. Okay. But if you really see the fixed mindset people, they place big bets very slowly because they analyze a lot and then before replying to someone also, right? So here they place small bets very quickly. Let me do this. If it works out, we'll go to the next, right? So they fail more often in new situation in case of the fixed mindset people because they never tried in the past. But really, if you really see I have a recently one friend actually who became a professor in ISB. He actually, if you really see, is in engineering. He is not a first-class student, but he could able to really make a mark and become one of the best professor, and then get into the ISB as a professor. There are people actually who are gold medalists from IITs and the best of the best schools. Actually, they would have gone to the best of the best school, and then finally they would have got the same job. Actually, that means you may achieve the same result, but actually your paths may be different. The person who's really with a growth mindset, he says, let me try this, let me give a shot on this, let me work on this. If I fail, doesn't matter, let me go forward. Those are the people who will be more successful because they never bother about what will happen if I fail. Okay, if you too much you analyze that, if it really doesn't work, what will be my face in front of them, then you will really miss the chances of being successful also, right? These are the set of the behaviors. Finally we call it as the fixed mindset and then the growth mindset. Then don't worry whether you are a fixed mindset or your boss is a fixed mindset. This is not to analyze that. Basically, sometimes you may have to wear a very the growth mindset cap deeply and then think, and then sometimes we need to wear a cap of a fixed mindset. Both are really required for the organization, but most of the time when you really want to wear a cap of the growth mindset, actually think the big, and then explore new possibilities and take risk. Actually, that is what is the key thing which I wanted to bring it to you. Okay, so this is basically to systematize the entire organization, how to bring every organization to speak in one language for innovation. The design thinking enables that to happen. Okay, it's basically the core principle of design thinking is leadership to will help the organization, and also the business challenges. Today, even in NGO, you need to sustain, you need to grow, you need to collaborate, right? All these things can happen only if you have a design thinking approach and culture for innovation. So without that, you cannot really look at the growth aspects so easily. And then you proven certain model. This model may work in 10 different countries. How to really scale that, right? So understanding the each and every aspect, and then try to really keep working on the drawing board, bringing new ideas to the table. This can be systematized. That's what I wanted to bring it to you. People think that like, the design thinking or innovation is like a magic. Actually, it is only for certain people it will work. And then like, you need a special skill. It's not that. Actually, it always, the special skills can be learned, and then like, the delivered. So this is a Tim Brennan. Actually, he is Apple's creative service drew this picture. Actually, someone asked like, now what is innovation? Actually, he said this is the air ball he drew, and then said innovation is very complex to see that money, what it comes from. But actually, Professor Jeanne, she came out with a decoded version of the air ball and came up with the 4 different questions called what is, what if, what was, and what works. That means what is basically to understand what is the present scenario, how people are really suffering, how people are really solving this problem, what are the shortfalls, how we can really bring the new thoughts. All this understanding we do in deeply, and then we come to the what if. What if is all about the new possibilities, to look at the new ideas. Okay, we call it as imagination of future. Like, how does your organization look in next 25 years? How does your organization look in next 50 years? Who will be there? The poor people will remain in this world next 50 years or not? Or you'll be doing the same thing? This is basically to think much ahead, but at the same time, you can also have next 2 years, how people will change. If everyone becomes rich, what will happen to your organization? What you're going to do? These are basically the new possibilities you'll be looking at. Definitely there will be poor people in this world, no doubt about it. But actually, you can question that. Okay, the region where you're working, you may not require to work in those regions possibly. We don't know that, right? So what wows is basically, many times we think that like, you have a fantastic idea, but I don't have a skill to deploy that. I don't have people to deploy that, right? What wows is basically your wow idea is all about your skill, as well as like, your idea matches extremely well. It's something like you do a lot of like, when we go for examination, we do a lot of preparation, right? Next day when you go back to the examination, like, you just imagine you got a paper, all the questions which has been asked in the examination is exactly you prepared previous day night. Okay, those scenario will never come, don't worry about it. But that is the wow idea, like I mean to say wow time, right? So hey, this is something which I know everything, at the same time the same questions came up. So you're preparing yourself for those questions to answer. So at the same time, when the wow idea is all about, it will come to the people who they have skill, at the same time they could able to identify the areas to work actually. And what work is basically, you go and work with your stakeholders, get the feedback on regular basis, and then try to fine tune the whole model. So most of the time we go to directly to what if actually to come out with the new ideas, but we don't study effectively in the what is condition effectively. So without doing that homework, if you really go to the what if, actually you may come out with the wrong products. Okay. So this is what is some of the tools. I don't want to run through. It's called journey mapping. I'll just show you one of the case study how it is really deployed actually. So what is basically like what's going on today to understand customers' dissatisfaction, stakeholders' dissatisfaction, pain points of your stakeholders, change makers. Maybe as a change maker, you may face many problems. Okay, you may not get funds properly. So what is the real scenario? Understand that deeply. Okay, understand the pain points and then how to resolve that. So this is one of the experience actually we always show that actually like, the library experience of a boy. This is a boy who is trying to like, pick up the book. Actually, his height is not sufficient to pick the right book. Okay, he's using 2 books actually, and then it is dangerous because he may fall at any point of time. We were looking at the picture. What we do is actually we assume that he's like taking the book actually. Possibly he may be keeping back the book also. I will ask like the engineering manager or the people who have a knowledge of the design. I say, hey, how do you really solve this problem? He say, I will make a ladder for him. I will make a stool for him, right? But ultimately, the kid is going to grow in next 2 years. Actually, you don't need any ladder or a stool also. But we don't think that actually, because this is a capital investment. We'll just say, let me bring a ladder and then keep it in the library. Finally, no one will be using it next 2 years possibly. We don't know that, because this is how you can really think like with the picture to understand the real scenario. That is what is all about like the design thinking. What if we are going to come out with like an understanding the customer needs and then your pain points of your stakeholders and come out with the new ideas actually. So the next is the what wows. As I mentioned, the wow zone is all about the skill, and then the need comes together, and then you have a skill to really execute that well. So that is the sweet spot to work on. The what work is basically going back to stakeholders and then keep getting the quick feedback so that you can fine tune that, and then so that you come to the level where the no one can execute like the way you execute. That people should feel that. Then they say, even every money given to this particular organization, it makes sure that it reaches the people in the best possible way. So that is what actually the challenge for you most of the time. People ask, if I give you 100 rupees, how do you really enable them to reach to the right people, right? So these questions keep coming in again and again actually. So one is actually, hey, if you pay 100 rupees to me, I'm going to deliver 120 rupees to your person. It's not only your 100 rupees is used and then only the 80 rupees of the job goes to the right person. That is not the thing people want today. If I give you 100 rupees, can you really deliver 120 rupees value to them? So that is what actually the people are looking at. Can you really keep getting the feedback again and again and again? Then you fine tune the process much better. Okay, this is one of the case study, the people use design thinking. There is a book by Professor Jeanne called Design Thinking for Greater Good. You can buy that from and for your library, and then it is an amazing book actually, where it covers the several stories on design thinking in social sector. Okay, so this is actually a case study from I think do I have a time? 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Is it going fine?
Yeah, absolutely, great. It's going great.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so this is basically this improving the food service for Denmark elderly people actually. So this is called a good kitchen. This is a very interesting case from the Denmark actually. Is captured well. So the first is actually we looked at the design thinking process actually. What is, what if, what was, and what works. Can I really solve this challenge actually? How to really deliver the right food and then tasty food, and then people feel happy about having the social food actually. So the problem was this actually. This was 125,000 Denmark's senior citizens rely on government sponsored meals. That means the government delivers the food to the senior citizens to their homes, or maybe they may stay in an old age home. They deliver food actually. So this was the challenge actually, the challenge given to them to solve. And the problem was the estimated 60% residents residing in assisted living and living facilities, they have a poor nutrition. The food has been given to them, but actually still they found 60% of the elderly people are the poor had a pure nutrition. So this was the problem actually, because even though you're delivering food, actually people are not fit enough. Actually they have poor nutrition. So how to really improve that? And they also found that the bigger problem around that actually, that means 20% of the seniors were actually malnourished actually. That was really hard percent, because the food has been delivered, but actually why they're not they're not able to really enjoy that food, why they're not able to really stay fit even though the foods have been supplied in time. Then they looked at this problem, and then the project was given by the municipality actually to the one of the consultant actually called Hatch and Bloom, and to fix the menu. That means how to really solve this problem. Okay, they gave this to the consulting firm, and they took this problem to very close to the heart. And then the first thing is what is, they want to understand what is a big challenge, what is the pain points of these people. They did an entire journey map. That means they identify who is involved, what kind of food they are being supplied, actually at what time people have, okay, what are the stakeholders who are involved while having food. Okay, every aspect has been identified. Okay, and then see at every step from the delivery to the the consumption of the food, how the entire process goes in. At each level, what is their happiness level? Okay, are they happy, are they sad, what is that all about? Everything. This is one of the best tool actually called journey mapping. There are many references for journey mapping is available. You can download from net actually. Okay, you understand so that you can understand the pain points effectively. So they understand the pain points, and then finally they the challenges were the seniors are embarrassed to accept the government assistance. That means even though the government is giving a food, they felt like they're embarrassing to accept any kind of government assistance. That means you are not up to par. You never really saved for yourself. That kind of there was pain felt by these senior citizens. The second thing is loss of control over the food choices was painful. That means you deliver the same kind of food every day. It was not really food for the of the choice. So it was really it was painful for them to really consume every day. They were lonely eating alone, and and miss seasonal food of their youth. That means they didn't had the mangoes at the mango season, pineapple and pineapple season possibly, right? These are the seasonal foods. What happened, they really miss to have that, because you have a standard menus every day, and then we have been delivered, right? So these are the some of the things which they had a pain point. And then workers also were who were cooking for them, they were demotivated, because you're cooking a same kind of food day on day, and then you're delivering them, and then it is not really exciting for them to cook. Finally, actually, if you really see the what if actually they brought all the stakeholders, okay, and they brought all the stakeholders. That is what the importance of the design thinking. Design thinking is a co-creation tool. Means you bring people together and brainstorm together so that you get the best solutions. You bring every contributor to this problem. Okay, the workshop participants were the employees of the residential caretakers, volunteers, kitchen workers, experts in the elderly issues, municipality officials. Everyone came together, and then they came out with several ideas. Finally, they found this this is what one of the challenge they took it up as seriously. That is, what if this public food delivery organization were a restaurant? That means when you really go to a restaurant, you have a menu, you have a choice, you have a waiter, right? You enjoy that experience, right? So how can really transform my food delivery into a restaurant? Finally, they came out with some changes in the whole scenario, how they had been delivered. So the first thing is the kitchen were turned into a restaurant. The way they were the cooking, they turned that into a restaurant, and cooks were called as chefs because they feel proud about cooking for the elderly people. Sorry. The third is the vehicles actually were turned into waiters. That means you are delivering food as a waiter to the one old man, so that he feels happy. It has been delivered personally for him. So the descriptions were turned into menu, because earlier the food was described. Here the menu was neatly, clearly given. What is the breakfast for today, or lunch for today, what are the ingredients, and then what is the nutritious value. Everything has been clearly mentioned, and they made it more visual, so that they have a menu. And then the next level is they also had the nice visualistic good looking menu, right? So they also looked at in the wow zone what exactly the stakeholder wanted it, and what exactly it doesn't require additional money to really do things, because it should be sustainable, right? And at the same time, can we really do it? Because they had all the capability to do that actually, right? So that is the wow spot. Okay, so they also had this is the package. It looks it looks very attractive, as if you get a box food actually, right? How it get delivered from a Swiggy or somewhere else. The similar way they have been delivered food, and that really changed, and then that really improved, and then the experience for having the government food in a system. I mean, through the design thinking process. This was really a very successful story, and then there was a change in they could able to really improve the nutritious level in these old people sitting in Denmark, right? This is how the design thinking has been deployed by understanding the pain points, and then how the new possibilities can bring in, and then what are the wow moments. Okay, how to bring the new best idea at the same time. Can you really work on it, and then go and deliver and get the feedback, and then see that how people feel that by this. So with this actually the design thinking, the case, like, they ended with a happy note, actually, right? So that is how actually the more visualization people worked on that very closely. So ultimately, like, this is a very nice quote by the Annie Mary. Actually, she's director of the good kitchen. Like, if you have a professional pride, you will also cook good food. Good food has come from the heart and not from the hands, right? That is what is very nicely quoted by her, and this really made a big change in Denmark. And this cases has been really, like, studied across the globe. Actually, this is today, right? So what I mean to say, something similar, you can do this very simple exercise in every project of yours, and you can create, this is a normal way of doing projects. Okay, you can set the process for your NGOs. Okay, with this, actually, I just wanted to end with a conclusion. The people may get sometimes the confusion with what is design and design thinking. Design is all about individuals, design thinking all about teams, working in teams, coming together. Design is all about the products and, like, the processes, you can say. The design thinking is all about you're creating a new experience altogether. If you really look at design, it's all about engineering and art. Here we are looking at technology, business, as well as the human. The business is basically whether it is sustainable or not, whether it is able to sustainable in terms of, like, can it run in long term or not? Okay, can you really use the right technology to fulfill this gap? Actually, can you really think human? That means how to understand the pain points, being with them, observing them. Okay, you have many more opportunities to identify the best way of deploying things. Okay, with this, actually, I'll be ending my session. If you have any questions, I'll be very happy to take.
Thank you very much for the presentation, Lokesh. In your own words, it was a wow presentation.
Thank you so much.
It has given a totally fresh perspective to the way we run our organizations, and especially design a set of behavior was something that I personally found really interesting, as well as the case study from Denmark.
Yep.
And, yeah, I'm sure almost all our change makers have the growth mindset, but yes, like you said, we need the fixed mindset as well at times. So,
Absolutely.
if anyone has any questions, you can type it in the chat box.
Yep.
The presentation was quite nice and elaborate. So Mr. Ravi S. Kumar says, amazing topic, heard first time, very useful in social sector too. Thanks for the lovely BPT.
Thank you so much, Ravi Kumar.
And Renuka, we have a message from Renuka. She said, thank you for the informative presentation, Lokesh.
Thanks, Renuka.
It has made me look at day-to-day challenges from a more optimistic view.
Sure.
We also have something from Mr. Sachin. Good in theory, workshop would help more. So we have a new request.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Okay.
Ravi also has asked that you would like to have coordinates of Lokesh. So I think Arjun can help us out with that. He can share the email ID.
Sure.
If that's fine with you, Lokesh.
No, perfect, actually. Lokesh V at Innomantra, you can always contact me, no issues.
Okay, wonderful. Probably, okay, we'll type it here as well, and all the change makers. I'm sure as much as they've all been amazed, we have lots and lots of questions as well. Sandeep Patel said it was a nice session. If anybody has
question,
questions, you can post it here.
Lokesh ji, this is Arjun.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Arjun ji.
Yeah. So the current trend is actually, though the non-profit organizations are started, and then most of them are looking to transform that into a social enterprise.
Absolutely.
So how does this design thinking help them in this transition of NGO to social enterprise?
Absolutely. So the thing is, ultimately, you're looking at the new possibility, how you can really sustainably generate revenue to sustain this particular cause, right? So you have a very strong purpose, but you need a constant revenue generation happening, right? Today, it's most of the funds which comes through fundraising and donations and such kind of things, right? So here, what we are really looking at is you apply this, like, wherever there is a high potential opportunity to create as a business. Okay, we call it as like, the business model innovation. Can you really see, can it really this generate some certain revenues around that in every aspect? There may be, you have gained certain skill by doing certain activities. Okay, you can identify certain areas and then apply the design thinking, how, which all the companies may look at these kind of services. Okay, what kind of revenues new revenues can be generated by doing differently. Okay, so this is basically which enables you to understand. That's the reason I said like journey map is one of the most important tool in design thinking. That means put a chart, bring all the stakeholders, put it into 12 different steps from the zero to the delivery, what all steps they go through, identify who all are participating at each level, what are the machines, and then what are the technologies you use to really deliver that. Okay, and then you also look at what are the processes you follow to really do that. Then you look at like at each level, how you're really performing today. Are you happy? Are you really better than your competitor or not? How to really like the aim big, like how to really get the funds which a top NGO gets in, right? You can really find at every level where you are performing well, where you're not performing well, not well. Where you're performing well, you can offer that as a service to another NGO also, possible. We don't know that currently, right? We don't talk to each other. Design thinking enables you to co-craft, co-create, collaborate. You got it?
Yes.
This is how you can see certain areas. Doesn't mean that you need to totally come with a new business model. There may be certain people who may be doing certain things which may gel with your current product line or a service line, right? Or maybe the like the projects which you have been delivering. You can try to collaborate that. Only bring those companies. You can create some new revenues possible. Okay, because the biggest challenge today is NGOs don't talk to each other. They work in silos. If you think that 4 NGOs coming together can create a new business model, it's possible today. Currently, we don't think beyond us actually today. One is the creating within you. One you can create with collaboration also.
Yeah.
Got it?
Got it.
So don't expect that ideas always come inside the organization. Sometimes it comes outside the organization. When you're working with them, you may find there is a new opportunities coming in between. Okay, so that is also is a possibility.
Thank you, Lokesh. We have a message from Ravi S. Kumar.
Yeah.
He said we should have a half-day seminar on design thinking in all cities. We can help you in Mumbai, Thane, Navi Mumbai.
Oh,
Or
lovely.
a webinar of 3 hours. Please do consent for this. So I've shared your email ID also, and you can Ravi, you can get in touch with Lokesh. Also, there's a question from Mr. Yasin. He's asked that does lean startup come under design thinking or parallel thinking or different things? He's also asked lean startup and design thinking. Can you share your words?
Excellent. It's a very good question actually, because when we talk about lean startup, people also talk about design thinking. Okay, so the lean startup is all about like the shortening the cycle, because today if you really see the product cycles are very, very short. That means in 8 to 12 weeks, I need to create a platform or an app and then show that if it really works or not. If it doesn't make sense, kill the product there itself. Okay, that is what the lean. That's what the lean startup is all about. Lean startup is basically to quickly to try out something, doesn't work, just kill that and then go to the next. But to really come out with such idea itself, you need to work on design thinking. That means to be with the customer. For example, like if you're producing an app for benefit of the passengers in the railway station. Okay, it doesn't make any sense for a person who sits inside a AC room and then develops the design actually. Let him go and be in at least 5 different stations in India, which is highly populated. Spend some 15 to 20 days how people live there, how people use there, what are the pain points of the people, understanding in the real scenarios. Okay, then you will get a new insight. I'll tell you one of the example which I always quote is, I was designing medical equipment in my previous company. like, there was foots in the medical devices. Actually, it's a ECG monitor. Okay. And like, we never given importance to the foot of this ECG machine. Once I went to understand how people use the ECG machines, because once the ambulance comes in, the stretcher was brought out, they rush with the ECG machine and they take the patient, and then the nurse doesn't have a space to keep that patient monitor anywhere. There is no space in the structure. She will keep on top of the patient itself because the patient is unconscious. That is the time I realized actually the foot is very important for the medical. So we changed the design of the foot, because when you're really pulling it out, you may tear the cloth or it may scratch the patient. We never really thought in that direction at all. We felt always it will be kept on the table. So I got a new insight when I went to the real scenario. This is what is actually the empathy. This is what is the real, like, we call it as ethnography. Being in the real scenario and understanding. This lean startup is all about trying it out in a very shortest time, whether it really works or not. Design thinking enables you to, are you really working on the right idea or not? Okay, that is what is all about, the design thinking and then the startup coming together. We hope it's convincing answer to you.
Yeah. Wonderful. We hope, Yasin, you're happy with the answer. Yes, you said thanks. And all our change makers are really, enthusiastic and very happy to have attended this session. This was a unique one of its kind. So thank you very much, Lokesh, for taking out time and giving this presentation.